Welcome, I'm Ryan Hicks, and this is Modern Business, the podcast to learn from franchise business leaders and explore new business technology. Our community is about sharing knowledge and tools that help us achieve our goals in business and beyond. Thanks for being here, and welcome to Modern Business.
And welcome back. I'm Rick Tocquigny. It's great to have you all back again with us. And we have a very special CEO on today, John Venhuizen. John and I were connected through a mutual friend, John Costello, who oversees Dunkin' Brands marketing. And it is great to have you on, John. You lead one of my singular favorite retail operations in all of the world.
You're too kind. Thank you, Rick. It's our pleasure to be with you.
Yeah, it's for those of you that do not shop and support Ace Hardware, well, you better, especially after you hear this show. John, tell us a little bit about Ace Hardware and the entire organization.
Yeah, so I don't want to give a TV commercial here. You kind of just did that, so thank you. But I don't want to be presumptuous either and assume everybody knows about Ace. So just a quick thumbnail. For generations now, Ace has been fairly well known around the globe as the helpful place. Hopefully your listeners are familiar with our slogan, Ace is the place with the helpful hardware, folks. And at the core of that is, we're a leader in the convenience hardware business. And underneath that, it's empowered by a supply chain. We're a hard lines distributor. Our stores sell about $13 billion of product to their consumers, and we ship most of that to them around the world. We're in 50 states, 63 countries. Our stores employ over 100,000 associates in their retail stores. We have 17 distribution centers, 6 cross docks. We've got assets in Panama, Shanghai, and Dubai. But the truth is, nobody will ever remember anything I just said there, rightfully so. And so the way I articulate what Ace is in a sentence is just this way. For 90 years now, we've been blessed to be in the business of serving others. And that's what we do. And at Ace, our customer, the Ace store, is also our shareholder. And that creates a very special situation. And for us, we think it becomes very difficult to lose sight then of who we serve at the corporation, which is the local store owner who owns both their store and this company, which is unique and, in our view, a very special thing.
You pay attention to us locally. That's what I love about you guys. I mentioned John Costello at the front end of the show. John and I helped co-write this book called When Core Values Are Strategic. Would you tell us about the role of values within the Ace family?
Yeah, it's a great question. And, I'm not arguing perfect efficacy here, but I will tell you we hold very dear sort of two key things. And if you can picture in your mind's eye a little graph, on the vertical axis, I call that the what. That's performance, and any company needs to perform. But equally important along the horizontal axis, going from left to right, is the how. And for us, that's our values. So in the what, I say unapologetically, in business, we keep score with money. And you'll never catch me apologizing for that. The measurement on the vertical axis of what is very often kept in business with money. But business isn't about money. It's about people. And people long to be about something much bigger than just money. And for us, that's where the values come into play. And while more difficult to measure, they're critical. And I won't bore you with all the details around them, but we've tried to codify those values, and we all sign a document every year so it doesn't just become a plaque on the wall that says this is what we stand for beyond successful business, as most notably scored with money. And those things are things like excellence. We think that honors God and inspires people. Things like integrity. We know in business we need to be able to trust each other, and so we got to expect honesty and ethical behavior from one another. Things like gratitude. I'm not a big fan of the entitlement mentality. It kind of makes my skin crawl, to be honest with you, and so we want to be, recognizing that we are blessed to be in this business and grateful for it. We also value humility. We say we like to try to walk with the humbled swagger of a winner. We know pride cometh before the fall, And many companies that have been better than ACE aren't here anymore, and very often it's because of hubris, and we don't want that here. So humility is of high value. And then, of course, in business, teamwork's everything, right? It's not natural. Seems to fly in the face of a person's desire for control and credit, and so we try to hold teamwork, putting aside our own petty preoccupations for the greater good, as a high value. And then lastly, we actually put this on a piece of paper, and all over the building, and to anybody who listens, we say one of our highest values is love. Love what you do, love who you do it with, and I know some people find a 90-year-old hardware company that has love as one of its values to be a little odd, but I say it unapologetically because we believe to our core that when we've got that, we'll outperform companies who don't.
And that is a great set of core values that are actually at work every day. I mean, defining core values that have become strategic and tactical for you guys. It is truly amazing. You mentioned that your customers are also shareholders. How does that impact how ACE operates?
Yeah, it's a great question, Rick. It's a challenge for sure when your customer is your shareholder, right? But at the corporation, which is where I work, I first and foremost serve the local owner who exists to serve their local neighbor. And we don't call them customers, we call them neighbors. And when your customer is your shareholder, it gets a little more difficult to lose sight of who it is you serve. And that's why I say we feel like we're blessed to be in the business of serving others. And in our view, serving others is not the enemy of a successful business, but rather the enabler of it. Right? I mean, if you think about capitalism, though it has become a very evil word in the press, at the core it requires you to be a good servant to someone else, or you don't get anything in return. Right? There's no business without serving someone well. And so the way we think about this corporately is we try to operate with servant hearts and small business minds. So while ACE has become very big, we try to act very small. Our view is that if you want to build a global business, you have to start by thinking locally. And because our stores are not only owners of their local store, but of us, we think we have a bit of an advantage to both act small and think locally, which is, a core differentiator for us. Service, convenience, and quality is driven by local. And our stores are, we have 4,913 stores around the world, Rick, and with the exception of 85, every single one of them is locally owned and operated. And that impacts the way we operate here, and it ought to.
Absolutely. And our final question for you, John, is just to share a little bit more about the role of your retailers as leaders.
Yeah, so, we don't just throw around the word leader. These guys truly are leaders. They're owners and leaders of their business and of this entire company. I sometimes joke that most people probably think of ACE as a franchise, but we're really more like the unfranchise, kind of like 7-Up was the un-cola. We empower our local owners with a tremendous amount of flexibility in decision-making. Though we're unified by a common brand, we empower our owners, unlike what a lot of franchises do, which is, people hear the word franchise, they think rules, regulations, these, thous, and thou shalt nots, and we try to stay away from that because while it can get messy, innovation and inventiveness often is very messy. But on balance, when we empower local owners to make local decisions for their local neighbors that the corporation doesn't inflict with rules, it can be a very beautiful thing. And we're not perfect at it, but we do really believe at our core that's the heartbeat of America, right? Local owners empowered with local autonomy to serve their local neighbors. And when that works well, I think it's what makes small business beautiful, and frankly, it's what fuels global economies in our view. And we want to be the best in the world at that because we believe we have the best owners in the world.
Absolutely. And I am, as I said at the beginning, a great fan of your company, and there's 1,000 reasons to be a great fan of an organization like ACE. And John, we are so blessed to have had you on our show today. Thank you for sharing that. And I think our challenge to owners out there and leaders out there on this show today will be, look at the ACE model and what you guys are accomplishing and building leadership and doing it through this wonderful core value structure that you actually make strategic on a day-to-day basis. John, thanks again for being on our show.
Thank you, Rick. It truly was our pleasure.
You bet. That was CEO of ACE Hardware, John Venhuizen, and just a wonderful insight into their organization about what really makes them tick and what makes them successful. Please support the Ace Hardware organization. If you're not friends with them already on a local basis, you should be. What a great group of people that work hard and have a wonderful set of values that they follow, and they've got this tremendous sense of ownership, and so we hold them up as just a wonderful gold standard for American commerce and entrepreneurship. I'm Rick Tocquigny. Thanks for joining us on this life lesson. Please join us again for another show, and until then, we suggest this challenge to all you leaders out there to be more concerned about direction than perfection, and also to be the change that you wish to see in this great world of ours. Have a good day.